Hello YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. I'm sure most of us have all started to feel that grip tighten through inflation and getting gas at the pump. Well, I'm Jerry and I'm living the Newcomb life. Well, as you guys know, you're my YouTube family and family takes care of family. So I'm going to show you guys one of the ways that my parents taught me to help that dollar stretch. And that's going to be by two ingredients, ham and pinto beans. Now you don't have to use pinto beans specifically, but that's what I use. You can use navy beans or pretty much anything else you want, but the recipe is basically the same. The first part of the preparation that you need is you can go out and get a ham for the family. You can eat on that ham for as long as you need to, but make sure that you don't cut away all of that meat around that ham hock. You want to leave a little bit of meat on there so it'll cook with your beans. So this is the ham hock that I saved, and you can see it's just a ham bone with pretty good chunks of meat on it there, and that's what I'll be using in my beans. And the other ingredient is pinto beans. Now just to give you an idea about helping you make that dollar stretch, the current price at Food Lion for pinto beans is $1.99 for 2 pounds. So that being said, you can really make that dollar stretch with just these two ingredients. So the first thing that we need to do with our beans is go through them and make sure that no small stones snuck in there. All right, well, it's real easy to check your beans. You just cut the bag, spread them out over your countertop, and just start going through them. And then I'm going to place them in a colander so I can rinse them off before I put them in the crock pot. The stones are relatively easy to spot. They're pretty much the same color, but you can tell that it's just not a bean. And you just pull them out and put them in the trash. So this is what I like to do. I like to spread my beans out on the countertop and just look for anything that might look bad, like these beans right here, or any small stones that have gotten through, and you just want to pull those out and not use them. Okay, so now we just have to soak the beans. So we're just gonna put about an inch or two of water over top of our beans. All right, so we have about maybe an inch and a half of water over top of our beans, and we're gonna let them soak overnight. Okay, well, it's the next day, and the beans have really soaked up quite a bit of that water. See if you guys can see that. Soaked up quite a bit of that water. So I'm going to add some water and the ham hock and get this thing cooking. And then all I do is put the lid on. Plug it in. So there's a general rule of thumb when you're cooking in a crock pot. If you need to cook something fast, say in about 4 hours, you can set it to high. In this case, these will be cooking all day, so I'm going to set it to low. And by the time that I get home from work today, they should be good to go for round 1. And then we'll cool them down, put them in the fridge overnight, and do the same thing tomorrow morning. All right, so I just got home from work and the beans have been cooking for about 10.5 hours. The next step is to just turn the crock pot off, and we're gonna let them cool down enough so that we can either put them in the refrigerator or somewhere where it's relatively cool or cold so that they can get cold overnight and bring them down to a nice cool temperature. But the hard part is not eating them today because they smell amazing and the ham is really starting to break down really nice. The other thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to stir them too much, because the more that you stir them, the more that the beans will actually break down. And that's not what you want. You want the beans to stay whole as much as they can, but you want the broth and everything to really thicken up. And that's what happens when you put it in a refrigerator, is that this broth will actually start to really thicken up. So I'm just going to let them cool, put them in the fridge, let them get cold overnight, and repeat the process tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day, and I just took the beans out of the refrigerator, and you can see that they've really cooled off a lot. So I'm just going to do the same thing as yesterday. Plug in the crock pot and set it to low. And in about 8 hours from now, come back, check it, and we should be able to have beans tonight. All right, so it has been about 8 hours since I started the beans this morning. And let's give you guys the big reveal. All right, check those out. Look at the big chunks of ham. Got the ham bone in there. So we'll remove the ham bone out of there. But you can see how it's taken on that reddish pinto bean color. And the broth has really thickened up quite a bit. That's how you know it's pretty much done. The ham is all broken apart. The meat is completely off of the ham bone there. And the broth has taken on that reddish tint to it. All right, so I'm gonna put this in some bowls here. So I did add a little bit of salt to it at one point when I stirred it a couple of times, but not a whole lot. This is one of those where it takes the salt from the ham, and that's really where it gets a lot of its flavor from. But I think it's time for a taste test.
Did someone say taste test?
Oh yes.
It smells so good.
All right, so you have you got bits of ham in there. You can see the broth. Looks amazing. But it's hot, so be careful.
So good. So today outside is a little cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful outside, but it's a little cool. And this warm beans, it just hits the spot. It is so creamy and warm and so good.
Yeah, the fat and the collagen from the ham bone and the full ham hock really helps thicken it up. It makes it taste hearty.
Yeah.
Like I said, I only added a little bit of salt to this, but it's like right on the money as far as salt wise.
Guys, this is a really inexpensive meal. And back in the Depression days, they would make this for a whole family because they could make a whole pot of beans for next to nothing.
Once the pot gets down low, then we'll make chili from it. So, and ground beef is, relatively inexpensive. So really the biggest cost is when you purchase the ham, but this is definitely a way that you can really stretch that dollar.
You figure. That's 6 meals. You got the ham meal, you got the beans, you got the chili. You're buying the ham, which if you catch it on sale, you can get it for $7 or $8. The beans, which were $2, so that's
$2.
$9, under $10 probably. And then you add in 2 pounds of ground beef, which is $10.
And maybe some other kind of bean, like a kidney bean if you want,
I
from a can or something. But
the pinto beans is just fine. And then you figure at that point, you've got $20 into 6 meals that will feed at least a family of 4.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in each one of those meals.
like I said before, family helps family. So we're here to help our YouTube family. And if this is a way that we can help you guys stretch that dollar, then that's exactly what we're here for. But I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free and it really helps our channel grow.
Yeah.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all of our upcoming videos. But one of the ways that you guys can help us out, if you'd like to, is to share our videos on all of your social media platforms. But we're going to finish eating because this is absolutely amazing. I might have to make some biscuits just because, so I have something to dip into this. That's one of the best things that I like to eat with this. But now that we have this, I'm looking forward to the chili.
Yeah. So good. Not too salty, which is good. It's really good. Really rich and hearty.
Oh my gosh. The cool thing is this is only going to get better over time. The broth is really going to thicken up.
Yeah, every time that it gets refrigerated and then warmed back up, it'll get thicker and thicker and more flavorful. So, awesome.
Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
This is really good.
I don't want to stop.